Whenever the Bengals and the Steelers play each other, they are going to Hulk smash each other. And we saw it last night. The Steelers ended up winning. That's not the story, though. The story is that Juju Smith-Schuster, who, for USC, so, who John Gruden, by the way, can't pronounce his name. I don't know if you heard it.
No.
He's like, Juju's Schuster Smith, good player, good player. So he laid out Vontaze Burfict. Burfict was what looked like, honestly, unconscious.
Yeah.
And he stood over him. Juju made an apology, but not without Antonio Brown yelling karma in the background. Take a look.
Sure, I got straight cash on it.
Also,
karma.
That's not me.
It's called karma.
I apologize for that. And
it's called karma.
With that being said,
it's called karma.
I mean, there was a lot of that happening both ways. It's just one of those nights where
a lot of guys are going down. Left and right hitting.
What was your reaction after the hit once you were standing over him?
Man, as soon as I was like, man, I messed up. I messed up and not.
So, okay, yesterday we did the...
Real quick, just to set the scene, Vontaze Burfict knocked out Antonio Brown. That's why Antonio Brown is
the karma thing.
Pleased. Obviously.
And that was from last season.
Yeah, it was from a few seasons
These things
ago,
aren't forgotten, and it happens in a lot of sports. That's why you look up and you wonder where this fight came from, say, in a baseball game in the middle of July. You're like, what the fuck? This isn't even like a game, a season-changing game. But these two teams and certain guys see each other again, and it just comes together. Anyway,
it's a rivalry.
Yeah, and then even if it's just within the game, it's just two guys that don't like each other, and then other players, their teammates, then stand up for them in response. Schuster's a rookie, am I right?
He's a rookie, he's 20.
Obviously, he was not there last year, so this has nothing directly to do with him, but with standing up again for your teammates. It crosses over again. We talked about Lonzo Ball for the Lakers, walking off the floor when there's a scuffle happening, and that was looked down upon because you stand up for your teammates. So there's all these, not even unwritten rules, written rules almost in sports where your teammates appreciate you for doing things like this, but everyone else doesn't because it's dirty. Now, if one dirty thing happens and you respond with more dirt, then now it's all even, the slate is clean. Now you know how it feels. Karma, you hear from the background. Where that's a problem is you don't, okay, I'm not trying to defend the, because we just talked about Gronkowski yesterday. That was a personal thing, just came from frustration. But what you don't do, since there's all these unwritten rules and athletes have this way of conducting themselves that a lot of times the media and fans don't understand or like, you don't cross. It's like looking at what's called the fourth wall in like TV shows. It's the fourth wall when you look at the camera when you're supposed to. I think it's a term for television and movies. There's three walls. You don't look at the fourth wall because the fourth wall is the camera. You don't want to look like you're looking at the audience. Anyway, in this, athletes, you're not supposed to cross over and let them know what you're really thinking or doing. You go have your media answer. You say it was a great team. They really tested us. We respect them. When in reality, when the cameras go off and the media leaves, you go fuck those guys.
Of course.
So this is the same thing. When they're not there is when Antonio Brown should say karma. But right now, he's fucking the whole thing up.
However, I do appreciate him telling us how he really feels.
Absolutely, yeah, no, we appreciate it, but then he's gonna get shit for it now.
Well, it's a bad look.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
It
is.
It's throwing dirt on.
But it's true.
I know it's cliche. I know that this is a saying, but it's throwing dirt on someone's grave.
Yeah.
So the second slide is where I'd like to go. Asked to clarify his karma comments about Burfict getting knocked out. Antonio Brown said, I ain't talking about nobody, just karma's karma. Karma is in life. You do the wrong things, you get the wrong things happen to you. It's not personal between no one. In the words of Billy Madison, oh really, fool? Oh really? So here's, on a serious note, this still rings true today. This is the doctor who discovered CTE. He was speaking with Sports Illustrated. Take a look.
No child under the age of 18 should engage in the high-impact, high-contact collision sports. The big six are football, ice hockey, mixed martial arts, boxing, wrestling, and rugby. Why? It's that when a child plays these games, that child suffers brain damage, which can manifest sometimes 40 years later. When you play these games, your child is more likely to die before the age of 42, especially through violent means. Your child has about 3 to 4 times greater risk of committing suicide, of suffering a major psychiatric illness like major depression, of becoming a drug addict or abusing alcohol, of developing proclivities to violent behavior and tendencies and criminal behavior, of dropping out of college and attaining relatively low educational levels. This is outside CTE, because I think there's not so much obsession with CTE. CTE is just one disease in a broad spectrum of diseases that are caused by brain damage from trauma to the brain.
The reason I cut it is because it's just important to bring to light once again that what happened last night is not surprising. It should not be surprising. Everyone that wants to say, well, this is the dirtiest hit and these are dirty plays and the game should be decided through guys scoring touchdowns. No, this is where the game is right now. You remember that movie with George Clooney, Leatherheads? That like, okay, well basically what it was is, you know, way back when Red Grange was around, they didn't have face masks. They only had leather. They had leather helmets, right? That went around, it covered, opened up around your ears and went down. You had a chin strap and you had it on the top of your head. Those days are gone, man. These guys are not only, and I'm not generalizing here, but some of them are taking steroids. A lot of them work out like crazy. They are using not only the crown of their helmet, but their entire helmet along with their body, training it and manipulating their body to be used as a weapon. Are you really surprised that we are seeing more findings in CTE with a lot of these players?
Guys are bigger and stronger.
They're bigger and stronger. And even if the NFL, who by the way put in their settlement that says, we weren't responsible. That's the one thing that they fought for. Like, obviously, football is the core reason why this is occurring. Are you telling me that if these guys went out and became anything else in their respective careers, not NFL players, that they wouldn't have CTE? Obviously, there's a clear correlation between the two. We all know that. You're being, like the NFL, ignorant if you decide not to. But even if the NFL doesn't put the hits of the great Jack Tatum and Ray Lewis murder and many others, okay? It doesn't matter who it is. This is still a thing that happens. Ryan Shazier took an awkward hit. He's out for the season. He had something wrong with his spinal cord. And now we're seeing Vontaze Burfict out, who, by the way, has leveled opponents in the past. This is not surprising at all, and it's just important to keep in mind that, and I agree with the doctor, if I were to have kids, I would not let them play football.
As he said, but hockey, I think they have more cases of that.
But just to keep in mind, this is going to happen many more times now because of the findings that we have, and this is what you're signing up for when you decide to watch every single Sunday.
Well, yeah, and also, by the way, and then the guys who play it, they're not worried about it in general. I'm sure some.
I think they're becoming more worried about it, but they also know that this is a paycheck.
Yeah, it's what they've, at this point, these guys have been playing their whole lives, and this kind of the past maybe, what, 10 years? This has become a big issue, and these guys say they're 25 years old. They were playing before they were 15. So it's not like they're gonna suddenly jump out of it then. So I do think it's gonna be a sea change with the amount of acceptance there is with this, but it's not happening yet. So there's still that culture that would have to flip. And again, like they know, many know, and they're like, well, that's just what it is. It's not gonna happen to me, it's okay. And that's just the idea. So yes, it's very important that we point out the fact that these head injuries leave people the way that they end up later in life, and we just kind of forget about them when they're dragging their feet and can't think straight and have, as the doctor went into all that, the depression issues and everything like that. But right now, they're thinking this is an intense battle and I'm trying to win this game, and this guy did this to me last year, and we want some revenge.
Here's one more thing. Watch the Hall of Fame ceremonies or even the Hall of Fame game every single year when they honor some former player. Those guys can barely walk. And that was before we got to the point where guys were training 24/7 to reach their goal of playing in the NFL and having improved science to help their bodies become bigger and stronger.
Because I guarantee can't guarantee you because I'm not a football player, but I played a little bit in high school when I was this big. And
how's that?
This big. The majority of these collisions are practice, man. You hit constantly in practice. So at least in a game, the hits come where the ball is.
They're doing it less now because the coaches know how quickly someone can suffer an injury.
The damage comes in practice.
Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
As we do know. Thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe to 2IT Sports.